Hey guys, back again with another Bible reading. We're going to be in Genesis chapter 20, or not 28, sorry, 38. Last time we read about Joseph being sold by his brothers and everything. Oh man, terrible time for Joseph. Now we're going to be reading about Judah and Tamar in chapter 38 of Genesis. And I'm reading in the NIV version, if you guys want to know. So here we go. Chapter 38. At that time, Judah left his brothers and went down to stay with a man of Adullam named Hira. There Judah met the daughter of a Canaanite man named Shua. He married her and made love to her. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son who was named Er. She conceived again and gave birth to a son named him Onana, I want to say, or Ona. We're going to go with Onar. She gave birth to still another son and named him Shelah. Or Shelah? I want to say Shelah, yeah. It was at Kizib that she gave birth to him. Judah got a wife for his firstborn. Her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the Lord's sight. Oh no, that's not good. Don't want to be wicked in the way of the Lord. Oh man. So the Lord put him to death. Whoa, Lord, calm down. Just killed him. That's not cool. Oh, don't be wicked, people. You know what God's gonna do now. Dang. Then Judah said to Onah, "Sleep with your brother's wife and fulfill your duty to her as a brother-in-law, to raise up the offspring of your brother." But Onah knew that the child would not be his, so whenever he slept with his brother's wife, he spilled his semen on the ground to keep from providing the offspring for his brother. What he did was wicked in the Lord's sight, so the Lord put him to death also. Dang. That's just messed up. Just because he didn't want to fulfill his brother's duty and trying to make more offspring, he gets killed. Man, I wouldn't want to do that either, but I don't want to get killed, but dang. Okay. Judah then said to his daughter-in-law, Tamar, "Live as a widow in your father's household until my son Shelah grows up." For he thought he may die too, just like his brothers. So Tamar went to live in her father's household. After a long time, Judah's wife, the daughter of Shua, died. When Judah had recovered from his grief, he went up to Timnah to the men who were shearing his sheep. His friend Hira, the Adullamite, went with him. When Tamar was told, "Your father-in-law is on his way to Timnah to shear his sheep," she took off her widow's clothes and covered herself with a veil to disguise herself, and sat down at the entrance to Enime, which is on the road to Timnah. For she saw that through Shelah, or Shileh, had now grown up, she had not been given to him as his wife. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a prostitute, for she had covered her face, not realizing that she was his daughter-in-law. He went over to her by the roadside, and said, Come now, let me sleep with you. And what will give me to sleep with you?" she said. "I'll send you a young goat from my flock," he said. "Will you give me something as a pledge until you send it? He asked, or she asked, sorry. She said, or he said, what pledge should I give you? Your seal and its cord, and the staff in your hand, she answered. So he gave them to her and slept with her, and she became pregnant by him. After she left, she took off her veil and put on her widow's clothes again. Dang, that is so messed up. So, his daughter-in-law? No, wait. Yeah, his daughter-in-law? Not his daughter. His granddaughter undressed herself, dressed herself as like a prostitute, but she wasn't really trying to be a prostitute, I guess. And she sits on the roadside, and her father comes by and just be like, oh, hey, can I hook up with you? Here's all my crap, just so you know that I'm not trying to cheat you of this young goat and stuff. And they're just like, sure. And they get freaking so now he has a child that he doesn't know about. I feel sorry for Judah now. So meanwhile, Judah sent the young goat by his friend the Adullamite in order to get his pledge back from the woman, but he did not find her. He asked the men who lived there, where is the shrine prostitute who was beside the road at Imnah? There hasn't been any shrine prostitute here, they said. So he went back to Judah and said, I didn't find her. Besides, the men who lived there said, there hasn't been any shrine prostitute here. And Judah said, let her keep what she has, or we will become a laughing stock. After all, I did send her this young goat, but you didn't find her. About 3 months later, Judah was told, your daughter-in-law Tamar is guilty of prostitution, and as a result she is now pregnant. Judah said, bring her out here, have her burned to death. As she was being brought out, she sent a message to her father-in-law. I am pregnant by the man who owns these, she said, and she added, see if you recognize whose seal and cord and staff these are. Dang. She's trying to save her life now because she's like, oh, you know, my grandpa who got me knocked up. It's like, Judah, what are you doing? Judah recognized them and said, she is more righteous than I, since I wouldn't give her to my son Shelah. And he did not sleep with her again. When the time came for her to give birth, there were twin boys in her womb. As she was giving birth, one of them put out his hand, so the midwife took a scarlet thread and tied it on his wrist and said, this one came out first. But when he drew back his hand, his brother came out, and she said, so this is how you have broken out. And he was named Perez. Then his brother, who had the scarlet thread on his wrist, came out, and he was named Zerah. Chapter 39. Joseph and the Potiphar's wife. That's a weird name, but we'll go with it. Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. The Potiphar, an Egyptian who was one of the Pharaoh's officials. Okay, so it's a Egyptian official. That's kind of cool to know. The captain of the guard brought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. The Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered and lived in the house of the Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. The Potiphar put him in charge of his household, and he entrusted to his care everything he owned. From the time he put him in charge of his household and all of that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessing of the Lord was on everything Potiphar had, both in the house and in the field. So the Potiphar left everything he had in Joseph's care. With Joseph in charge, he did not concern himself with anything except food he ate. Dang. Joseph powerful. That's what you get for believing in God, the Lord Almighty. Now Joseph was well built and handsome, and after a while his master's wife took notice of Joseph and said, "Come to my bed with me." Joseph said no. Say no, Joseph. But he refused. Thank you, Joseph. With me in charge, he told her, my master does not concern himself with anything in the household. Everything he owns he has entrusted to my care. No one is greater in this house than I am. My master has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God? Dang, just laying down the line. He's like, I'm not cheating, and you're not cheating, so what you gonna do? And through she spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her or even be with her. One day he went into the house to attend his duties, and none of the household servants was inside. She caught him by his cloak and said, "Come to bed with me." But he left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house. When she saw that he had left his cloak in her hand and had run out of the house, she called her household servants. "Look," she said to them, "this Hebrew has been brought to us to make sport of us. He came in here to sleep with me, but I screamed. When he heard me scream for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out the house." She kept his cloak beside her until his master came home. And then she told him the story. "A Hebrew slave you brought us came to me to make sport of me, but as soon as I screamed for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out the house." Dang, this girl likes to lie. Liars just don't make anything better in life, especially liars. When his master heard the story, his wife told him, saying, "This is how your slave treated me." He burned with anger. Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. But while Joseph was in the prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in his eyes of the prison warden. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those held in the prison, and he was made responsible for all was done there. The warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care, because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. Bam. Go Joseph. Okay. Chapter 40. The cupbearer and the baker. Dun dun dun. Sometime later, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt offended their master. The king of Egypt, the Pharaoh, was angry with the two officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard. And put them in custody in the same prison where Joseph was confined. Oh no. Maybe Joseph will teach him a thing or two. The captain of the guard assigned them to Joseph, and he attended them. After they had been in custody for some time, each of the two men, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were being held in prison, had a dream. The same night, each day, or each dream, had meaning of its own. When Joseph came to them the next morning, he saw that they were dejected. So he asked the Pharaoh's officials who were in custody with him in his master's house, "Why do you look so sad today?" "We both had dreams," they answered, "but there is no one to interpret them." Then Joseph said to them, Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me yours dreams. So the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream. He said to him, "In my dream I saw a vine in front of me, and on the vine were 3 branches. As soon as it budded, it blossomed, and its clusters ripened to grapes. The Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, squeezed them into the Pharaoh's cup, and put the cup in his hand. This is what it means, Joseph said to him. The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift you up on your head and restore you to your position, and you will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand, just as you used to do when you were his cupbearer. When all goes well with you, remember me and show me kindness and mention me to the Pharaoh and get me out of this prison. I was forcibly carried off from the land of the Hebrews, and even here I have done nothing to deserve being put in a dungeon. When the chief bearer saw that Joseph had given a favorable interpretation, he said to Joseph, I too had a dream. On my head were 3 baskets of bread. In the top basket were all kinds of baked goods for the Pharaoh, but the birds were eating them out of a basket on my head. This is what it means, Joseph said. 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, the Pharaoh will lift off your head and impale your body on a pole, and the birds will eat away your flesh. Now the 3rd day was the Pharaoh's birthday, and he gave a feast for all the officials. He lifted up his heads of the chief cupbearer and the chief baker in the presence of his officials. He restored the chief cupbearer to his position so that he once again put the cup in the Pharaoh's hand, but he impaled the chief baker, just as Joseph had said to them in his interpretations. The chief cupbearer, however, did not remember Joseph. He forgot him. Dang, that sucks. How you gonna forget a guy that just told you, he's like, oh, you're gonna be okay, everything's gonna be alright, but you're just like, I'm just gonna forget about that guy. Yeah. You just said a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Well, that's the end of chapter 40. Thank you for watching, listening to my Bible reading. Please leave a like, leave a comment. I don't care if it's nasty. Comment like saying, like you reading the Bible, or if you leave a good comment, give me feedback. Please subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching. Bye.